Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Art House. I got a very fun and interesting video today, and an important one too. I found that a lot of people, as we're approaching alpha now, this is being filmed in May 2023, so we're getting very close to alpha fulfillment, and we're seeing some of the early reveal products and products being distributed to content creators, other people that had some influence on the game, getting early product, and some of that is starting to surface on eBay, right? And there's been a lot of confusion for folks just learning about the game, about the provenance of some of these different products, from everything from early sample or test print cards to alpha precon deck cards and the actual alpha booster box product, essentially. And the nuances and difference of those are important. So, when you're bidding on these, you're getting exactly what you're looking for. So this video is to serve that purpose. I have basically everything I just listed in my hands, right? And I'm going to show that through the overhead cam in a minute. But I wanted to show some additional resources as a reminder. If you've been around for a while or if you're new to the game, this will really help orient you to what are the different product lines or different prints of Sorcery product to date, even in the pre-alpha release era. All right, so I'm starting here with the Collector Arthouse website. And again, I'll go to the overhead camera in a moment and show all this, but I want to show you a few resources to start with. And if you go to collectorarthouse.com, and there's a lot of great information here, a full art gallery of many of the cards in the alpha release, and even cards that are not in alpha and we're going to see in future sets. Beautiful gallery of all the artwork of Sorcery, right? And I continue to grow that as I discover new art and it becomes formally released, and I could publish it here as a nice curated content library for that. There's some nice behind the art articles with stories and information about different cards. So I've talked with all the artists for these cards and gotten the story behind the art direction that they got from Eric, the game creator, and from their own personal vision for what their artwork and their composition concept, right? But if you go to the interviews and articles page, there's a lot of interviews with the artists, interview with the game creator here. But last year, I put out an article about sample cards, and here it is, June 29th, 2022, almost a year ago. And it says, sample cards, the rarest Sorcery collectible. This is probably where you want to start if you want to do a deep dive on sample cards and really understand the provenance, the pop size, the purpose of test cards. This is a very detailed, exhaustive interview with everything we know about the history of the game. I like to consider myself a bit of a historian about the development of the game from its very beginnings to its current state and going forward into the future. And this website serves that purpose. So does this YouTube channel. And this is a great starting point to learn all about how sample cards were distributed early on, how they will be distributed in Kickstarter fulfillment, how many packs we'll see in Kickstarter fulfillment. It's going to be 244 sample packs across the different pledge tiers, and some information about rarities, inferring and speculating a bit based on what we know from company statements, from what's been put out there, from what's come to market through different forums, and I'll get to that in a moment. But this is a great starting point to learn about that. Another great resource, if you go to the Sorcery Contested Realm community group, this is a Facebook group that I established maybe like a year and a half ago, roughly. A little over a year. I think it was April 2022, thereabouts. It's at 1,600 members as we approach release, so it's growing very quickly. There's a lot of interest. It's getting a lot of momentum. But what's very interesting, if you go to this page and you go to the media page, right, and just comb through the photo library. Like I say, I established this in April 2022, so it's been 15 months or so. Every single day I've posted to this group, trying to grow it, trying to spread the word on Sorcery, sometimes many times throughout the day, right? A lot of great dialogue, but just going through the photo library, you'll discover and learn so much about the game. You'll see original artworks. This is an original painting by Andrea Modesti, some sketches by Severin Pignot. And what's really awesome is that almost all of the alpha artists are in the group, and they engage as well. They share things, insights. We have great dialogue. There's been many sample card auctions, many painting auctions. So you'll find price history of all that. These are all sample cards that have been auctioned through the community group, through my consignment services, or working with artists to sell their artwork and different things like that, right? But if you just go through to the early days, it's really fascinating to go back and reflect on and see developments we were seeing in the game production. the design evolution, the gameplay, game mechanic changes, art concept evolutions. It's really fascinating. So that's resource number 2, the Facebook Sorcery Contested Realm community group on Facebook. And then, of course, the Collector Arthouse YouTube channel, right? So I have an exhaustive library. I really started this channel in earnest maybe roughly a year ago, maybe 9 months ago, I want to say. So it's still, we're at 700-ish members right now. It's been growing kind of slowly over time. And what I wanted to point you to is those earlier videos had a lot of good content, because that was the early days when we were really discovering a lot about the company, active with the creators in Discord, learning a lot about the early development, how things came into being. And I did this exhaustive sample card video. It's about 25 minutes long. It's called Sorcery Contested Realm TCG, a complete guide to sample cards. So if you want to do a deep dive on sample cards, again, this is a great supplement to that article that I showed you previously. And you'll find a lot of great information there about sample cards, where they come from, pop size, all that good stuff that you'll want to know as a collector if you're interested in that niche category, right? All right, so now let's switch over to the overhead cam. So I'm going to do a switch, and let me just test. Okay, the camera is live. So I'm displaying several products here. Now, this is going to be very interesting because I have it all here, right? I was fortunate enough to acquire these things through different mechanisms, some of it through consignment, some of it through early showcasing of the product on my YouTube channel as a content creator. And I'm going to pull this over onto the other screen. All right, so what I want to do here, let's start with the earliest most print, and then go through kind of current time to show you the evolution of the cards, how you distinguish one card type from another, as you could educate yourself and as you figure out what you want to collect. And when you see it out there on the marketplace, the various marketplaces that exist, you know that you can bid or buy with confidence and know that it's legitimate, right? So the earliest print that we know of are these spellcraft cards. All right, so even before the name Sorcery Contested Realm was decided, they were going with this name Spellcraft, right? And the card back design is the same. That's by Francesca Berald, but the spellcraft, it says Spellcraft up here instead of Sorcery Contested Realm, right? So this is how it's now changed. And I did a video on the evolution of the names of the game too, which is very interesting. Okay, so we have the Spellcraft back, and then you can see on the face of the card. Now, these Spellcraft cards were just locally home printed by Eric, presumably, and other early game developers, right? So you see the quality of the card is much different. A few characteristics, right? So if I let me pop this out of the case. All right. Now, the card itself, you can see this is very interesting here. So it's wildly off center, because it was probably, just cut, like printed on a, thick paper. It's not like the regular, like high quality cardboard you're going to get in alpha. But you see it's from an image, right? And it's square cut for one. You got square corners. It does have, the image has the rounded corners. If I get it a little closer to the camera, and I'm going to zoom a little bit, a little later on, but it has the rounded outline. It's a little dark here on the image. It's hard to tell, but it is rounded. It's cut square. It's off center, so it's not a perfectly clean cut. So that is your Spellcraft card, right? I'm going to put this safely aside, and then we're going to move on to some of the other product lines. All right. So you had the Spellcraft. Then the next thing we had was sample packs. Right, so I have 3 things here. I did a few sample pack breaks on the channel. There were these art packs that were given to various content creators. There was a box opened by Team Covenant, a full booster box of these, right? And then for other content creators, 1, 2, typically just like 1 pack was given out to various folks that had some influence on the game, or, community members that were active or helped spread the word on Sorcery. So I received one of these packs. Someone else received one, sent it to me for consignment. This is open. We did a box opening, a sample pack break. You can go find that on the live section on YouTube. And if you take a look at this pack, it's a sample pack. I'm going to zoom here too. We kind of get the idea. There's several things on the table. So let me zoom and show you a little more closely. This is a sample pack because it says first edition test, right? So that's how it's an art pack, as we call it, because it has the art on the pack. versus the silver pack, and I'll get to that in a moment. But the art pack has the artwork on the pack like you're going to find in alpha. The big difference, first edition test. That's how you know it's a sample pack, right? If you find it sealed. And it says Sorcery Contested Realm is a tactical TCG with iconic hand-painted art. Now, if we compare to an alpha pack, I was fortunate enough to get a booster box to do a showcase reveal, and you see it's pretty comparable. The color tones are different, right? So the sample pack, you have a lighter blue here. On the alpha pack, it's a bit of a deeper blue, and it's interesting. It's almost like holographic. It kind of shines a little bit, or at least it just catches the light a little differently. You can see from different angles as the light catches it. All right, so now if we look at the back, otherwise it's all about the same. If I look at the back here, of course, again, this is an open pack. You're going to find it does not say first edition print. So in that black square area, it's just empty, right? And it says an old school fantasy card game for players with a rich imagination, tactical nerve, and appreciation for hand-painted art. And then the big difference, the alpha symbol, all right? So that's how you know this is an alpha pack, where again, this one, first edition, sample pack, no alpha symbol, and the sentence is a lot more brief, right? They kind of change the slogan or logo or whatever you want to call it. All right, so we have sample art pack, alpha pack, and then there was one other kind of sample pack. Unmarked, no sticker. Again, this is open because I did a sample pack break on the channel. Again, you go on the live page in my YouTube, Collector Arthouse YouTube, and find that. And no markings whatsoever, right? In the Kickstarter fulfillment, we're going to get sample packs like this, silver, no artwork, except they're going to have a seal or like a sticker that shows kind of the sorcerer hand. So that's how you know it's from the Kickstarter fulfillment. And in the Kickstarter fulfillment, there will be 244 packs distributed in aggregate across all the different Kickstarter pledge tiers. All right. So again, go review the article, go review the video on a deep dive of sample cards if you want to learn more about the quantities. I'm not going to get into that for the scope of this video, but I just want to show you the different pack types. Then I'm going to show you the nuances and differences in the cards themselves. All right. So let's start with sample cards. And I have several here to show you, right? So what's interesting about these is a few things. How you can immediately know the difference is by looking by the artist name. It says art, copyright, Andrea Modesti. So that copyright symbol is generally unique to sample cards. There's one difference from a miss in the alpha precon decks, but you can clearly distinguish that, and I'm going to get to that. I'm going to show that and show you how you will know that's an alpha precon card versus a sample test print card. All right, so this is a sample test print card, copyright symbol, the Imperial Pikeman. That's the easiest way to recognize it. The next is by the other design changes. Again, copyright symbol, but this card, Chains of Prometheus, it was a unique as a sample card. This was then changed, I believe, to an exceptional for alpha. And the name of the card changed as well. It's now called Iron Shackles. All right, so you can have many differences. You have card title changes. You could have mana cost changes. You could have, power and toughness change. This often changed on many of the cards. You can have type line text change. Sometimes, let me find one that has here we go. Sometimes you'll find that the flavor text also changed. All right, so this is a counterpoint here, right? This is an exceptional card as a sample test print card, copyright symbol, but it is actually a unique in the final alpha print. So very substantial, significant changes. Anything from title, casting cost, toughness, where it applies, type line text is the line above the box, game mechanic. This is very early development. There was a lot of development change, which is one thing that makes the sample cards very interesting. You could see the early design development and how that significantly evolved for alpha and really refined the game and made it into a great, fun game that we see in its final alpha form. And the flavor text, and then we see an alpha symbol when we get to the alpha precon decks. All right, so I'm going to go to that next. There's just several sample card examples here. Kind of showed you the differences. All right, now let's go to the alpha precon decks. And we're going to go, for starters, to Screaming Skull. And I picked this one because it's a nice, beautiful, light artwork, right? And if you look at the bottom of the card, no copyright symbol anymore, right? For one, it has the alpha symbol. Now, again, this is from the alpha pre-constructed decks. And how do you know that? The key difference in the alpha pre-constructed decks is these little lines that come out of the artist name. You know, little line going into art right here, and then coming off of Benson on the right. So you have this on every alpha precon deck. And then almost all of the cards will have the alpha symbol, right? There's a few exceptions, and I'm going to go to that now. There was a few anomalies where this was missed in the print file that went to print for the alpha precon decks. So one, in your Earth deck, you have the Spear of Destiny, right? Beautiful artwork, really iconic looking artwork by Andrea Modesti. And you see here, there's still the copyright symbol. That is the mistake or the oversight. That should have been changed to an alpha symbol. However, you see the lines coming out of his name, and that's how you're going to be able to distinguish this from the regular alpha booster box card, right? So in the alpha precons, you're going to have the copyright symbol still, just like, and if you go to, again, the Sorcery Contested Realm community Facebook group, I actually auctioned a couple of these Spear of Destiny cards. So you can see and also on my website, you can find an archive of all the sample cards that I've auctioned. And you can see that this copyright symbol will be there, but the lines coming to the artist name will not. And I think there was also some casting cost change, perhaps some other changes too, that you'll go and be able to find. I want to say there might have been no flavor text or a different flavor text there. So again, a lot of changes. The key distinguishing factor for alpha precons is these lines, which are consistent on every card coming out of the artist name, and only a few instances where they missed replacing the copyright symbol with the alpha symbol. So one example of that is the Spear of Destiny that you'll find that in the Earth deck, pre-constructed deck, and then in the Fire pre-constructed deck, you get 3 Shifting Sands. And now the Shifting Sands has that same little mistake, right? Where it's still the copyright symbol, and it's really hard to see on this one. Let me get it as close to the camera as I can without it getting blurred. So you see the copyright symbol instead of the alpha symbol, and it's really difficult given the colors on this one to see the lines coming out of the artist name, but I assure you those are there, and that's how you know that the Shifting Sands is from the alpha precon deck. And this is the box from the alpha precon set. You're going to have the alpha symbol on the packaging. So once again, getting the packaging, that's what you can expect. And then you get one of each of the elemental decks with the beautiful artwork by Severin Pignot for the elemental avatars. And these elemental avatars will be unique to the alpha precon deck in non-foil, right? So this card will only exist in non-foil in these alpha pre-constructed decks. In the alpha booster box product, these will only exist in foil version. And then for beta, they will be removed completely and replaced with these new hooded avatars, as they call them, with artwork from Francesca Berald. So that artwork is unique to alpha and pre-alpha and alpha sample cards. So it's very cool. Beautiful artwork by Severin. The other thing I wanted to point out, one nuance you're going to find, one of the interesting pulls from my sample pack break was this beautiful foil Moon Clan werewolf with artwork. The painting was done by Alan Pollock, but unfortunately on the foil version it says the art name Santiago Caruso. So he's another artist in the game. He did not do this painting. That was an oversight and a miss in the print file. In the non-foil version, it's correct. It'll say Alan Pollock. In the foil version, this is a bit of an error card, a print error because the file was incorrect, and that'll be a unique nuance of alpha product from the booster boxes. And then if you want to see another card from the alpha booster boxes, this is going to be how you know it's from alpha. It has the alpha symbol again instead of the copyright symbol, and you do not get the lines coming out of the artist name. So the line is the key distinguishing factor for the alpha precon decks. In the alpha booster boxes, no lines coming out of the artist name, but you do have the alpha symbol, not the copyright symbol. All right, so there you have it, guys. Let me lay a few cards down here. You have the alpha precons. Let me find my Screaming Skull with the lines coming out of the side. You have the actual alpha card, so lines coming out of the sides, no lines on the alpha card. And then on the sample cards, you have the copyright symbol. A little harder to see, but there you go. The copyright symbol by the artist name. So that's how you distinguish the three. You're probably not going to find a lot of the spell craft cards out there in the wild. These were locally printed, very unique. You know, I don't know. I would liken them to the Gamma cards in Magic the Gathering, perhaps. More like playtest cards. They're not printed at the factory. They're locally home printed by employees of the company. So it's a really cool historical like relic of the early days of Sorcery. So it's a lot of fun for collectors, early adopters, enthusiasts. But there you have it, guys. The 3 different core variants from sample packs, alpha precon decks, core alpha product. You're going to find the alpha or the sample cards in the art pack, sample cards in the silver pack, and then again for Kickstarter fulfillment, it's going to have a sticker on there branded by Sorcery, and then the actual alpha packs will have the difference where you get the alpha symbol. All right, and there's your summary. There's your exhaustive guide to the different products. Please watch this a few times, share with the community, make sure people understand what they're buying when they're finding things at auction or private sales, buy-sell trade communities. We should be very clear about what we're selling, and then the buyer needs to do their own due diligence to understand what they're buying. So hopefully this video does a lot of good for the community, helps you guys understand the differences, and you can target whatever you want to go for. Try to collect them all. You know, master set of everything is kind of what I'm going for in Sorcery. Packaging and cards. And we'll see how it goes. All right, best of luck to everybody. Thank you, guys. Hope you found this helpful. Please like, subscribe, share the video. Really appreciate your support. Take care.